Alrighty, folks. This is Simmon coming at you again with another self-commentary video from the 2021 Chandrian Invitational Tournament where we will be playing sevens, a 7x7 game. And today's game is me against rabbitboy84. So he is a longtime player. He even wrote the book on tax strategy. Yes, that is true. He wrote the book. It's on Amazon, and I believe it's called Tax Strategy Volume 1, but I could be mistaken. Um, yeah, solid stuff. I haven't read the book, so I don't know, but a lot of people tell me it's really good. Um, I expect this to be very difficult, as he's a solid player. Um, and we saw from my last game that time is actually an issue here for me. So hopefully I don't make that same mistake again. And yeah, I guess we'll see how this goes. Let's start it out. Let's start with some corners. I haven't decided yet if I want to just go ahead and play. I'm doing it. I'm playing the initial capstone. I'm following Archvenison's um, example and playing the first capstone right in the center there. We'll see how that goes. I've never done this before, so this will be a new one for me. And it looks like we're mirroring a little bit, and I'm kind of thinking I want to keep this line going, and he'll probably cut it off here, but I want to keep this line going a little bit. Okay, if he doesn't, okay, I'm going to play here. If he plays up ahead, I might snake around him and go up as well, because I know he's not going to let me just get this. Ooh, he plays this capstone. Okay, so he is going to cut me off at some point. Probably with the capstone, maybe with a flat. It'll be interesting. So if he plays here, then I'm just going to keep going until he makes the first move and makes the first capture. If he doesn't, then I'm going to play on this side. Oh, he played down below. Hmm. All right, I'm going to make that play. I'm interested to see how this turns out because now he's got this basically set up so he can cut me off without ruining his horizontal threat. But what I built here keeps him from cutting me off and doing that same thing. So he's going up here, stopping me from completely cutting him off. He wants to make this horizontal threat before I do, and he wants to be able to cut me off, and probably he wants me to move my capstone up so he can throw his second cap down, maybe? I would not be surprised about that development. Okay, so we're seeing him play up top here. Now, let's force his hand. Let's see what he does here. Will he come up with this flat? Probably. That's what I see him doing here, is coming up with this flat. And then what I've done here is I basically forced him to make a move here so I can think a little bit more about this stuff. And because I was thinking about moving this flat over to G6. Ooh, he moves the capstone down. Interesting. I'm going to do it. I don't I don't really have any reason for doing that other than that it was just funny and I kind of wanted to do it. Um, so it does block this in. He can't make this sort of connection here. His capstone is not pinned or anything, but it's not in a great position where it can do a lot. It's kind of stuck and it doesn't have a lot of influence and he can't really do much to connect with it. So basically I'm just messing with him here by placing the second capstone. And the second capstone is really unique in how it can play and how you can do things with it. I really think it's fascinating um, how much it changes the gameplay. Okay, so we did see this flat come down, and that's where I was going to play on my next turn. Was there? Mm, I'm going to do that. I don't really have much reason to, but yeah, I want to do that. I probably should have just played at E3, but maybe I'll do that on the next turn. I can see I can see him playing at E3 right now. That would make a lot of sense for him. Build on this sort of vertical threat here, so he doesn't have to worry about that. I can also see him building straight here onto F6, or a wall, or capturing over onto G7. G7. It's so weird to say G7. Playing a 7x7 game. Why am I doing this? Um, I do think it's cool that we're playing 7x7 right now. It's very different than 6x6 and 5x5, which is what everyone's really accustomed to playing. It is really neat. I don't think we completely understand all the nuance that goes into a 7x7 game. Ooh, he drops a capstone. That was a cool play. I like that. So he's going to be focusing on this horizontal threat, is what that tells me. And so that tells me I'm going to build some over here. This is still very early in the game. I can make a bunch of attack threats. I can do a bunch of stuff. And I can push momentum. But what I really want to do is build position. And so see how many flats we both have. Both have tons of reserves. This game is going to go for quite a while. We're only, 7 minutes into the game or less. So basically, I want to put down a bunch of flats in a lot of good positions. Okay, see, now he's starting to do this vertical threat once he saw me place around there, because he knows I'm going to be going that direction. So let's do that. So what this is doing here is, so he's got this vertical threat coming down where he can move his capstone over to complete this direction, right? Well, what I'm doing is I'm saying, okay, I can make this vertical threat faster than you. And so you'll have to move one of these pieces that make up part of your vertical threat over to the side in order to stop me. And once you've stopped me, you'll be giving up more of your position. Okay, so there goes that. So he has one more move he can make a threat. I've made the first attack threat of the game, I believe, right here, and he can easily stop this. And we both know that he can easily stop this. But what I'm doing is I'm putting more flats on the ground, or on the board rather, and I'm making him capture. At least in 5x5 and 6x6, when your opponent captures, they're giving you potential. It's not very good to capture in a general rule. So I can see this capstone moving over and capturing this piece, because it'll also give him a prisoner that he can free at that point. Now, freeing his prisoner, he can cover it down, make a good, solid flat count move there. He's got a lot of options here. And, I mean, our current flat count situation, okay, so he does play there, and I guess he's going to assume I'll play here. He'll capture over. That'll be attack threat. Well, he can't capture over because then I would win. But he might capture down to stop that, or he'll move something over along this line. Okay, so he did capture over, and that does sort of take away. What do I want to do? Do I want to play it here? No, I don't. Don't want to do that. What I want to do. Oh, This position is going to be pretty tough pretty soon. So I do want to place here. I was thinking about starting to build up my own over here, but this spot is pretty highly contested, and his positioning is actually a lot better than mine. He's got this capstone with one of his own prisoners, captives under there, one of my captives. He can throw this capstone down, or he can spread it, putting black here onto G5 and then the capstone here onto G4. He probably won't want to do that, but that's an option for him. But this could very soon become a very highly contested spot, and I want to make sure that I come out on top. That's why I'm playing here at E2, so I don't worry about that. All right, so we see him play over at E7, so he's making, at the same time as he's making a vertical threat here, he's also going horizontally. So I have to pay attention to that. So I'm going to pay more attention right now to his horizontal threat. Even though the vertical threat is a little bit more immediate, I feel like I have a little bit more room to mess around down here than I would if I waited up here. And so he sees that, and he knows that I'm going in here to basically mess up his plans for this horizontal threat. I wouldn't be surprised to see a flat here or even a wall there to stop me. But I do think that he'll be playing here at C6 on his next turn. Okay, still has not played. What am I looking at? Boom, 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 boom. And we do see the times here off to the side. We see rabbitboy has spent about 12 minutes, 12 and a half minutes, and he's at 12 and a half minutes left, sorry, and I still have 17 and a half minutes left. So I am playing quickly initially, which is what happened in the last game as well. But I did end up taking a lot more time later on down the road. Now, rabbitboy is a very good player, but he does take a lot more time than I do. But he's also very good at spotting Tinue puzzles. So these Tinue puzzles are posted like every day. Okay. Oh, man. Yeah, I should have been thinking about what to do there, since I knew that's where he was going to go. I really should have been thinking about that. Let's go here. Okay, so he's really good at solving these Tinue puzzles, because a lot of times I'll go to one of these Tinue puzzles, these daily puzzles that are posted up by Incaron every weekday on the subreddit, and I'll say, okay, all right, here's the solution. And a lot of times I'll get those right and it'll be easy. Sometimes I'll say, there is no solution to this, I'm pretty convinced. Just like what happened yesterday. And then rabbitboy was like, what about this one? And I found some holes to poke into it, and then he said, okay, what about this one? And I said, oh, yep, that. I said, oh, yep, that is the solution. And so I was wrong, and he eventually found it. And so that happens a lot, actually. And then also sometimes he'll find holes to poke into my solutions and stuff too. So he's pretty good. He's much better at puzzles than I am. And this is starting to look a lot like one of those puzzles. Okay, yes, he is doing that. Okay, so he has no attack threat yet. because he's not connected here and he's not connected here, but he will be very soon. I'm going to place here, and my goal here is I place here to sort of give a little more cushion on this side, but also because on my next move, I'm going to move this capstone over. Now, moving the capstone over will cut off his horizontal threat and make my own right here, which is nice and a teensy bit sneaky. So he may not see that. I bet he will because he's going to take his time. But it's 7, so you never really know if someone's going to see something or not, especially because there's 2 capstones involved. Like, come on, 2 capstones. So no one's really accustomed to doing that. And so he makes his threat here. So he made his vertical threat. I want to make sure that I'm not missing something because I'm very close to missing something. So yeah, he would just have to capture over here and he would have that vertical tack. And so I can't make my threat like I was going to a moment ago when I make this move, which I didn't realize after I made the move. I thought I was still able to make that threat, but I'm not. So I move my capstone over. He's probably going to start building along here, probably here at f6. That's a great move for him because it starts building in this direction and also makes this tack threat, or not tack threat, but keeps going for this horizontal threat. Overall, he's in a much better position than I am. And you know how I feel about that. I don't like it. I like winning. And this means I'm not doing that. So, what can I do about that? I can eventually move that up and that up. Yes. So I can move my capstone up to E6 and then this capstone up to D5. Boom, boom. Cut off that horizontal threat. Eventually cut off those. So yes, I'm going to keep building. I want to build offensively because I know I can make those 2 moves. But where do I want to build offensively is the question. I think I'm going to do that. Think I'm going to do that. Now he's probably thinking, what the heck is he doing by placing there since I've got so much going on here? He's probably realizing now that I either made a mistake or B, that I know that what exactly I'm going to do. I'm going to move the capstones up and block his threats. And so here's where we see what to do here. So while I don't have an anchor point there, okay, so he does make this threat. I'm going to move up with it. He'll move here or here. That won't be a threat. So if he moves here, that's not a threat, but it's building towards one. He could also capture up, and that would be a threat. If he captures up, that is a threat. Capturing up. What would I do if he captured up? If he captured up, would I capture over here? No, because that would eventually lead to me placing a wall. Hopefully. Hopefully placing a wall. I don't know if that would actually do anything in that situation. Oh. He didn't. Instead, he placed at E5. So yes, he is building in that direction. Not attack threat. Ooh, wait. Oh, I got to be careful. I almost messed up and gave him the win. Because if he builds here on his next turn, that is attack threat down here and attack threat over here. So I'm just going to do that. So again, this is a komi game. So there's 3 komi um, in this match, or in this game rather. And so he gets 3 extra flats counted to his score if this goes to a flat game instead of a road win. And I think we are both even on flats. We are at 15-15 right now. 15-15, he does have a +2 flat move here. 1, 2. Yeah, he has a, wait, +1. That's a +3 flat move, sorry. He's got a +3 flat move here, so he can take it even further. Really mess me up over on this side. But that would, it's better for him right now to keep this going until he doesn't need to anymore, basically. This is where we might see this d6 come up to d7 and make that additional horizontal threat. I am interested to see what he does here. Now it's also interesting, this initial capstone has not moved since I placed it there on the second turn. So I'm not sure how good this initial move is, how much it has helped me position-wise, but yeah, I'm just not sure. He could do a lot of things here. He could be capturing up, or he could capture over, and each one would be attack threat, just in a different direction. But he's also got to be worried about if he can't make a threat and can't force me to respond, how he's going to stop me here. Because if I'm able to connect down here uncontested, he's going to have to do some capturing over here in order to stop me. And I can bring this capstone over to basically mitigate these captures here, and that can come over, like a lot of stuff can come over and stop these recapturing situations. So like I feel pretty confident about this. Even though he's got a citadel here, I feel pretty confident about this spot over here, connecting it to the top. I just got to make progress down here first. I do feel like the wall was the best move that I could have made there. I plan on using them liberally from here on out just because a lot of reserves. Okay, so he is building here to sort of combat me building in that direction. He might come up here to stop some recapturing patterns that I have planned. It is important to note that Rabbit Boy's down to 6.5 minutes. And I've got 16:53 at this point. So a lot of stuff could be going on very shortly. Like I'm expecting him to play fairly quickly here at the end, because he's so behind on time. His positioning is actually fantastic, and I still put him as the favorite to win this game right now. I do like my positioning here. If he throws a wall down here or here, something like that, then I'm kind of screwed. Which is what he should do. He should be throwing a wall probably right here. Just because then he can come over, come up, something like that, and kind of keep me from building this, and he's still ahead on flats. And so he can just force and force and force this to go to a flat game. I believe in the game I saw him play against Archvenison, I think is who he played in sevens. He was and his opponent were both down to like, or maybe it was him and Abyss. I can't remember, but they were both down to under a minute time, and then for I think 15 or 20 turns, and so they were just constantly just playing on that 20-second interval time. So he knows how to play quickly. He just likes to take his time here, and which is really good. I need to do that more. I don't take enough time on my moves. Okay, what is that doing? That is not doing anything that I can see. I think he's trying to pin my capstone. I think that's what he's doing. Okay, so I have made attack threat now. I can capture over here with that, or I can come across with the capstone and leave it here. I like my positioning. I think it's good. I think there are a number of ways that he can get out of this, but he's got to play this really well in order to get out of it in the right order. Because if he plays it in the wrong order, I can win this fairly quickly. If he plays it in the right order, he might be able to get out of it. I think he can probably get out of it at this point, just whether or not he does do that. Because there are some recapture situations, like if he comes over here, I come over here, and then I can protect against something capturing there, and then here and there and that. Yeah, so a number of different things going on with this area up here. And I think his move is probably to capture down. Okay, so he captured over with that. Okay, all right. So he does capture over. I'm thinking I might want to capture with my capstone here. And he said gas, so maybe he sees something that I haven't seen yet. So he captures over. If I throw the capstone over, I think I win. I think, so if I go over here, his only moves to stop me will be to capture over, which is then, and that, yeah. Yep, so he saw it too. That is the game. Whew, that was close. Yeah, he just made the wrong move there. I think what he needed to do here was instead of capturing over, he needed to capture up with this. I think that was the move he needed to make. Capturing up with this gives him attack threat and stops my immediate threat. That would have then been met by that. Oh, maybe that wouldn't have worked either. I don't know. I don't think it was Tinue though. I don't think it was Tinue. I believe it's Tinue now. But I don't think it was Tinue on his move before. But if it was, it'll make a great puzzle. And I think Rabbit Boy had that in mind before playing this game with me. Um, what would his move have been there? He said he thought he had me pinned. Yeah, he thought he had me pinned, but he did not. But yeah, that was a good game. It was a lot of fun. Very close to me losing. You can see like he's got really close to attack threat here, really close to attack here, just so close to winning, um, but instead Tinue. Because he can't stop that. That goes that. That goes that. That goes that. Yeah, and so he can't stop this either. But yeah, he really needed to wall over here, I think, a couple turns ago, and then that would have really just messed me up. And there's that tag threat, and that's the game. Good game, Rabbit Boy. That was fun, and it was risky. There was a lot going, a lot of back and forth. He had a lot of control of that game, and he kind of blew it. And part of that can be attributed to he was running out of time, and he just didn't want to lose all of his time. That happened to me last game. Make some silly mistakes when you're running lower on time. You might not be down to 30 seconds or anything, but you're still thinking, okay, I got to make these moves quick so I can make the other moves take a little longer when things are a little bit more stressful. But yeah, so here I think is where when he plays here at D3, I think that's where he thought he had my capstone pinned. I think he was mainly focusing on like pinning this here, this capstone, I guess, but maybe that one. I'm not sure. Maybe he thought he already had it pinned going this direction, but he didn't think about me leaving behind both of them to go across. He probably thought about moving my capstone and leaving a flat below. Um, so here, when he plays here at D3, he really should have walled right here onto C3. Because then me playing here is just immediately countered by that. I would have then played down here probably at D3 and tried to connect over to this side a little bit and go horizontal and vertical at the same time. But this wall really would have screwed me up, and he would have been able to just throw a wrench into all my plans and probably come back and won. So that's I think the one big mistake was playing here instead of playing here. And he probably had a really good reason behind it, but maybe you just saw the board, like miss something on the board. But yeah, he did play very well, and I was kind of surprised by the outcome here. I expected him to beat me for sure. So that was a surprise, and yeah, I see some stuff in the future from the next few games. I can definitely see Rabbit Boy doing well in the next few games and being a contender in this small invitational tournament. So I will leave it at that, as I have a child who needs my attention. Have a good one, folks, and I will be back to commentate on my next TAC tournament game in this Chandrian Invitational. Adios.